Oh, my God. Aloha, folks. Welcome back to Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode with Mr. Ed Hamilton of Hamilton Rums. We were talking a lot about daiquiris, and I thought to myself, it's almost been a year since I've used this incredible tiki stem champagne glass from Trader Vic's. So, we're gonna do Trader Vic's Daiquiri, right out of the 1972 Trader Vic's Bartender's Guide revised. Before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who has joined the Patreon, the VIP section of the Breezeway. I certainly do appreciate it, and you'll be receiving your Breezeway Cocktail Hour pins shortly. This is an interesting daiquiri. I'm excited to see what it tastes like. Love to bring you along for the ride. And for this cocktail, we will be using limes, maraschino liqueur, light Puerto Rican rum, and for that we will be using the incredible Hamilton White Stash bar sugar. And the recipe calls for frozen Florida grapefruit juice concentrate. You know how precise I like to be on this show. And I searched high and low to try to find frozen Florida grapefruit juice concentrate. I seriously went to 4 grocery stores today. 4. Could not find it. So instead we're gonna be using fresh grapefruit from my neighbor's tree over there. Let's get to it. Now Vic specifically says to finger squeeze juice of 1 lime. And this is exactly what we were talking about, Ed Hamilton and I. And Ed was like, I think it's the worst thing in the world when recipes call for juice of 1 lime because that's so arbitrary. Is the lime gigantic? Is the lime tiny? Is it juicy or is it dried out? It's really hard to say. But the interesting thing about finger squeezing lime juice, we learned about it in the La Floridita daiquiri, where we found out that in Cuba, they were squeezing limes by hand, and it turned out to be all the difference in the world. So Vic is trying to get more of the oils in this drink. And see, juice of 1 lime here is ½ an ounce. And I know from reading past recipes from Vic that juice of 1 lime means 1 ounce of lime juice. So we're gonna go all the way up to 1 ounce here. We should really do a taste off between finger squeezed lime juice and normal lime juice to see if you can really taste any difference. I'm so curious. As you can see, we have the vintage Hamilton Beach mixer out here. This is fairly atypical, not only of Trader Vic, but also of daiquiris. You usually see daiquiris shaken, not blended like this. I think the original Cuba daiquiris were blended. But hold on, there's another twist. In the book, it says 1.5 scoops of shaved ice. Shaved ice? They want this thing to be a slushy. So we gotta bring out the snowflake. Remember the snowflake? We've used it to make ice cones and ice shells, all kinds of stuff. You can find it on Amazon. It's fairly inexpensive. I wish there was a coupon code or something that I could give you so that I could get some of your sales, because I know you are all gonna run out and buy this thing. It looks ridiculous and it works so well. So we are scooping ice cubes into the snowflake. You put the lid on, tighten it, and start cranking. So the book specifically says to squeeze the lime juice over 1.5 scoops of shaved ice. Here's our shaved ice, and that is just about 1.5 scoops. We'll get rid of the snowflake. Okay, so that is 1 ounce of lime juice. So pouring that in there, it's really just kind of a thick slushy right now. 1 teaspoon of bar sugar. Now the recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon of Florida frozen grapefruit juice concentrate. Like I said before, we don't have that, so we will be using a fresh white grapefruit. We're gonna use 1/4 ounce of grapefruit juice. Just that right there. I'm so curious to know if the grapefruit juice concentrate, especially frozen, has any taste difference than using a fresh grapefruit. I'm so curious. If anybody at home can find Florida frozen grapefruit juice concentrate and can make this cocktail for us, I am so curious to know if it has any difference. And I'm sorry that I can't do it for you. I swear I drove all over the place today. Okay, the next ingredient is 1/2 ounce. Ooh, it smells like cherry. 1/2 ounce of maraschino liqueur, very tart. and 2 ounces of white rum. Now, if you followed the episode last week with Ed Hamilton, he talked about how he developed this specifically for daiquiris. So it is the rum of choice for daiquiris. And there's 2 ounces there. And even Ed told us that he is a fan of corks. As I'm adding these ingredients, you can see it getting kind of thicker and thicker. It says add remaining ingredients as we did and blend. Doesn't say how long, but I think that any length of time now is gonna turn this into just a big slushy. So we really added a scoop and a half of water. I think that's what's gonna happen. Okay, I just did that long enough to mix it up, froth it up, and now one of the most incredible glasses that Trader Vic's ever produced, the Tiki Stem Champagne. It says to strain through a medium mesh. Is this medium? That looks like fine. We're not gonna do that one. We're going to strain that. Woohoo! And there she goes. And so for the first time ever on this show, from Trader Vic's, the Trader Vic's Daiquiri. I don't know how I'm gonna drink this. It's like almost overflowing. Pardon me. Oh man, what in the world? That is a tangy little bastard. Tangy? And you get that cherry flavor? Let's think this over here. That is an odd, odd taste. I think that if you like cherry flavors, you would probably love this. It is tangy and it has this like bitter cherry kind of flavor to it. I don't know if I like it or not. At first taste you go, ugh, what? But maybe as you go, it gets better. It's interesting. I wouldn't say not to try it, but we also made a daiquiri with Ed Hamilton last week, and I would get that daiquiri a zillion times before I would order this daiquiri. Seriously. That is that is peculiar. It's like it warms your cockles. Cockles? It warms your intestines. Intestines? Whatever is here in your body. That's what it warms. It warms this. Weird, man. But the mouth, God, that is so tart. But the mouth feel is really nice because it has kind of like this snowflake ice kind of still in it. The book says to strain it with like a medium-sized mesh. I just used the big gate that I had. I think the mesh strainer that I had was a fine mesh, so I didn't want to get rid of all of the little ice pieces. I think they intend for that to be in there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have called for that medium mesh strainer. So, interesting cocktail. Don't know what I think about this. I got a pretty good idea. I don't know if I'm enjoying this. I'll keep drinking it up. It's like, whew, bitter, like up in here. It's like, hey, you know, I don't think I've ever mentioned before on the show, but every single Friday night when these shows air at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we do a pre-party on Instagram Live. So if you go to @thehulagirls at 6 o'clock on Friday nights, you can join the pre-party. And usually I talk about the episode like a little bit. We go over some recent things that have happened kind of in the tiki world, and maybe some gifts that I've been sent from people who are fans of the show, and it's a really good time. We've done about 50 of those. Yeah, 50. And I think every time there's between like 50 people and 70 people that show up. So we would love to have you. It's a lot of fun. If you'd like to, you can type me questions or harass me or whatever you want to do. I will be there for your entertainment. Seriously, it's a good time. Ha! Coming up on the show, we'll be joining Miss Pinup Palmer in a few episodes. Next episode, we went back to Clifton's Pacific Seas for a super funny episode. She's If you know Pinup Palmer, if you haven't seen the episode with her in it, go back and watch it. It's super funny. She is a delightful and gorgeous friend of mine. And then further on down the road, I believe we're gonna have Miss Audrey Lorraine, who is one of the go-go dancers in my band. And I can't believe it's taken 50 something episodes to finally get to one of our go-go dancers, because they were such an integral part of the band. And again, if you don't know what band I'm talking about, it's a band called the Hula Girls. We were rooted in rockabilly and surf music, all kind of filtered through this 1950s Hapa Howley Hawaiian sound. It was a really good time, and I'm sure we'll get back to it eventually. But until then, there are some music videos on this channel, so take a look at those. Oh man, maybe that different grapefruit would have cut it differently. This is just a very overpowering flavor. There is so much like cherry bitterness in this cocktail. Whew, that is quite the acquired taste drink, I think. With that, folks, thank you so much for joining me once again on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We have so many more plans in store for the channel. A lot of new guests, a lot of new cocktails. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Please hit that bell notification so that every time I post a video, you'll be notified. It'll be like, hey dude, hey, he posted another video, go watch it. And hopefully you'll watch it, and then you can hit the like button on that one too. So, perfect. Thanks again, and aloha. Before we get into that, I want to thank everybody for joining the... What is this? Right out of the 1972, we have plans for so many more things. We have, whoa, my God. Also last week, the last scene with Ed Hamilton, where it was like this big cinematic thing, exported totally wrong, and I didn't check it before I uploaded it. So the edits are so messed up, especially for somebody who is so meticulous about every second that goes into the video. I watched that thing premiere and I was like, oh man. So the video that followed that video, I uploaded the right one. So go take a look at that one. I promise you, it's so much better. Oh, more news. The Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour Tiki mug is still being sculpted by our friends in Florida. I will reveal the name of the mug maker as soon as we get a little bit closer to being finished with it. And because I want you guys all to support him too, because they do a great job. And I'm so excited about having our own Tiki mug for the Breezeway Cocktail Hour. And if you're a member of the VIP section in the Breezeway, you will get a full day opportunity to purchase the mug before anybody else. So if you're interested in that, go to patreon.com/Breezeway Cocktail Hour. That tier is $10 a month. And if you would just like to tip the bartender, I believe that's $3 a month. I really do appreciate it. Nobody is making money here except for on merch and now some Patreon donations. And I really do appreciate it because these videos take an enormous amount of time to put together, but I really do enjoy it. And I really enjoy the fact that you guys join me every week. I really do appreciate it. And you will be receiving your Breezeway Cocktail Hour pins shortly. I feel like there's somebody outside. They can see in here, but I can't see out there. And there's bushes. Creepy. Now, Vic specifically, this lime juice is burning the out of my finger. Frozen car. Ah. Man, I don't know how Cuban bartenders only use their fingers, because if you have any tiny little cut on your finger, that day at the bar would have been horrible, because the day at this bar right here is feeling pretty horrible.